Welcome back, folks, to the Bi-Conic's Review of Honor for Ring of Honor on August 10th, 2023. Mikey, we're back for the bro. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's a wee bit early, but I am doing great.
That's good to hear. Again, I am, as always, the JVL here, hosting with my best pal and boss that runs the place, Mikey. We are going to be reviewing Ring of Honor from the 10th. And Mikey, I gotta say, starting off, it's really cool that they announced 8 matches. We got just about 8 matches. Like, it was not a 13 match supercard. This was insane.
On the one hand, I was so happy because I was just like, yes, like they didn't add anything extra into it. But also, what are we doing with the booking? Jerry Lynn and Stokely, what is happening?
Well, and I feel like there is a through line now. There's a third booker that's going to be coming into this because, as we know, someone kept appearing during matches again in a very nice fuchsia jacket. But still, we'll get to that as we go along here. But Mikey, I'm so excited because we got to see this together. This is the second week in a row we've been together for this. We're back on track, and they give us something. I guess I liken it to, we didn't miss anything. We're getting back into the grind of what Ring of Honor is, and it's not surprising in a bad or good way, but a good, nice little, like, fluffy, comfortable, like, here's what Ring of Honor basically is, minus a couple of our very big stars. So,
Oh, this episode definitely felt it because we'll just start with off the bat. Like, I mean, no Kingdom this week. I get because they got pulled to the MJF Adam Cole storyline and on Dynamite, which is fine, but that was hurting. Athena,
but no Aussie Open,
no
which we
Aussie
thought would be addressed
Open.
from that. We
No,
didn't have, like, most of our men's division wasn't, no Claudio, as per usual. He's an absentee champion, so we're not going to have him.
I mean it's fair because we got Shibata last week, but
We did, but on the same
give me
part,
more
I got none
Shibata.
of my love. I got none of my love. There were no Pure Rules matches on this tonight. Like, I love the Pure. Why don't we have another Pure Rules match?
I know, even if not like for the championship, like there should at least be one pure rules match each week. Like figure it out. And then I mean we did get like people are breaking up now, factions are like not being a thing. I was just like, why? Okay, sure. Oh, what?
We were confused, and as Mikey and I said offline of this was a very samey Ring of Honor, but also very much didn't do much to further a lot. It just kind of was like, we need to fill this middle of August date between the fact that we're booking for All Out and 0 Hour and all these things and All In and All in the Family and All Detergent and, all in inside my mouth. And either way, it just basically, it was what it was. And I feel like it missed a couple. There were a couple big highs for me on this one, and we'll get into those as we go here. But overall, you could miss this, and while you'd be missing a couple of great acts, it's not missing that much. And again, I go back to what I said in the last review. Basically, ROH has to start a side show of the week called the Perfectly Planted Underground Squash, because they just have squash matches all the time now. It's not even like there's no entrances, nothing. We got one entrance for a jobber that really wasn't a jobber, but it's a former producer who's back. So it's kind of cool. But we'll jump into the first match. Mikey, if I haven't stated it enough, absolutely positively love Dalton Castle. I need more Dalton Castle, if for nothing else than the interactivity of his entrance with the boys and everything else. He gets you jazzed to watch wrestling, and you get in there right from the like. I was excited for this episode because of how he started it off, even though it was basically a squash with Slim J, who is spinning his wheels as part of the Trust Busters, and they have no idea what to do with them. His big thing is, I'm gonna rip up a $500,000 undershirt, whatever it is, and put another one. It's just it's terrible. But Dalton Castle, mix of power and camp and fun. I need more of this, Mikey. How do you feel about him and the boys?
I mean, Dalton Castle is highly entertaining, and I always love the boys. Um, I do.
Even the one that was offbeat clapping, like the
Yeah,
one local guy they got that could not clap.
it's like get on beat. No. So I think this match served it. I guess it served its purpose. Like it was like paint by numbers basic. It started to get interesting though when Slim J that hit like the springboard drop kick from the middle rope, which was awesome to watch.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Like Slim J can work when he's not trying to play his character. The problem is the character is so antithetical to what he does that it doesn't work as well. The other thing I loved about this is that they really did play up that Dalton Castle is powerful, is bigger than Slim J. So like most of the offense wasn't getting in, so you had to actually work around that. And my God, man, like I could watch Dalton Castle wrestle a broom, and he would tell a story with it that would be beyond amazing. Almost like the one I sent you recently was the guy was like the lights go out, they come back up, he's being like goozled by an actual dummy, and he gets choke slammed by the dummy. Like you could have Dalton Castle do a match like that, and it'd be perfect.
Oh my goodness. I know, and you know, I also, just because of Dalton Castle, I love his moveset. Like his finish is called the Bangerang. I'm just like, that's hilarious. Um, I will say, I know the Trust Busters are serving their purpose of kind of just being right now like enhancement and jobbers, so to speak.
Jobbers to the stars, yeah.
Which makes me sad because Sunny Kiss is amazing, and I
Oh, I
wish
know.
they would do more with her. But ultimately, this match, it was great. I also do appreciate that they're still going with the story through line that Dalton Castle is still upset that he didn't get another chance into this ROH TV Championship Eliminator Tournament, especially since Stokely was the one that kind of cost Dalton during
Right.
that match with Samoa Joe.
I think in like next week, the boys, two of the boys have Brent and Brandon both have a match with Samoa Joe and Stokely, so that's gonna be fun to watch next week and see what happens with Dalton being out there at ringside. Maybe there's a stipulation put in front, like he tries to like shove it in, like if they win, I get to have a shot at this. I think Dalton Castle needs to hold a title in ROH at this point. Like I love Samoa Joe, I want him to keep holding it, but Dalton's there every week. Like that's a person you want on TV doing that and then showing up. And then maybe that gets him onto Rampage, onto Collision, whatever it needs to be to showcase this. Because Joe's moving on to do the stuff with Punk and continuing that feud. Like it's time to put ROH's title back on the only title on ROH right now that's defended regularly is the women's title. And it's not even defended. It's just brought up and there. Like give us Dalton Castle, give him a run there, make him the peacock of TV. Oh, peacock. Wait, we can't do that. That's an actual thing that WWE is on. We can't have him be peacock. That's wrong.
Yeah.
But we move on from the camp. We move on from Dalton Castle in a quick 4-minute match with Slim J, which was good enough. Watch it; it'll get you involved. To my new favorite tag team in ROH. I love me some big beefy boys. Give me the Iron Savages every day of the week.
Honestly,
Jack Jameson, not so much, but the two of them, oh my God, yes.
listen, I mean, this is a family show, but I'm just saying.
Is it? Whose family's watching this?
I mean, well, we're trying to be good here on the channel, but it wouldn't be a Bi-Conics review if the OG Bi-Conics, if I might I add, like we ogle our wrestlers, both male and female. We don't discriminate. We don't judge.
Damn, beefcake, you thick.
But yes, Iron Savages they become my favorite tag team too. They are also great to look at. Hey boys, how we doing? And
I love the comedy of it. Like he has to drink the juice to get like all beefed up and ready to go. Like Bronson like downs this mysterious bottle that looks like a giant bottle of sriracha and then like goes at. Oh my God. And they pulled off. So last week I didn't realize that's their new finisher, which turned into a doomsday device because of what happened with the Gates of Agony. Basically, it's a giant double flapjack, like Alabama Slam, where they slam both of each other onto each other like that, which I think they used to call both called the bear drop last time. So I was glad to see it work this time against Enhancement Talent 1 and 2, but I need more of this involvement. Jack Jameson's a great mouthpiece for them, but they're both really funny as well. And I think giving them a run with the titles once Aussie Open either loses them or something else will be in their future because they're not just big men. They're agile. They're moving. Beefcake reminds me of, not in a bad way, but of basically a Bam Bam Bigelow in that respect of like very agile and very goofy. And then Bronson is just kind of like, he's basically like Nikki ASH if she grew up 6 feet and took on like a bunch of like body hair, like that intensity and weirdness.
so literally her husband.
Yeah, it's literally Big Damo and Nikki ASH together.
God,
tag team.
I love it. And
I want one of their shirts now with a giant bottle on it. Like I really do.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna create a wish list and we're gonna send it to all seven of us now, and we'll be like, "Hey, this is what I want for Christmas."
and our 36 subscribers, because you never know if you want to help us out.
Shoot, for reals. I'm loving Iron Savages more and more. This was a squash match I did not mind because it was fun the whole entire way through, and it was more of getting Iron Savages characters out there, which I'm okay with. Iron Savages, if they are booked properly and if they are given time and the booking treatment that they deserve, they literally will become ROH's version of Heavy Machinery, of what I wanted from Heavy Machinery before main roster ruined the booking.
So 100%. And honestly, at this point too, like, because they're getting characters over, they're watchable, they're fun. And it was a literal squash match because they literally took almost 700 pounds of man meat and squashed Lucky Ali really easily. So well done to that. Again, at this point in the night, I was excited. I'm like, okay, it's not the best night so far, but I am excited to watch the rest of this evening. And then I kind of went to sleep, basically. Like, I'm sad to say, like, the infantry are wonderful, and I love Trish Adora, but again, it was squash to squash to squash.
For
Like,
reals.
it was
The
3 in a
infants,
row.
yeah, infantry and Trish have kind of felt like they've not lost a little bit of momentum, but they just been kind of like in purgatory of just booking. I know you want them to get their win record up, but ever since they had their match with the Kingdom and Layla, I was like, okay, so are we gonna get a rematch? Well, we can't really do infantry and Kingdom because Kingdom is MIA at the moment. And I mean, Layla's
Well,
out here wrestling other people. I wouldn't mind Trish versus Layla round 2, but like they've been kind of stuck.
well, they're also not promoted. Like, again, they're against a couple of jobbers who did their best to actually, like, get up there and make them really work. And there were a couple inventive moves in it. Like, I loved Sean Dean bumping around as he was, and like coming off of different middle rope moves. But
That spinning DDT was so oof.
so beautiful.
And then the Russian leg sweep for the win. I love it.
Which they call boot camp, which I also love that that's called that. But unlike Iron Savages, infantry hasn't gotten much time on the mic to be able to be promoting themselves. It's gonna sound kind of like, blinders on, but I know the difference between Carly Bravo and Sean Dean, but when they're in there, their moveset's so similar, it's just kind of like you get lost in it, and it's not meant to be like that kind of like we're the same person tag team. There still are different personalities. They're just not showcased to us yet, so you can't get invested because they're just another tag team. And Trisha Dora is the one who's been actually getting on the mic a couple times, and you feel for her backstory and stuff like that, and she says that these are her brothers in arms, but all I get from this is you're a military veteran tag team. Okay,
There's got to be more depth to it.
there's your base foundation. Why should I care that you're winning or losing? And I'm not getting that. And ROH is not known for doing that really well. They've kind of focused on a bunch of things. And they've also had people leave for extended periods of time. Look at the Righteous right now, who haven't been around since they lost, which is good. That was bad, but at the same time, if you want to put these people on this is why it felt like a filler episode, because we don't know who they are.
Yeah, the build up to that match to death before Dishonor between them and Dark Order was not the greatest. That match though was fire.
Again, all we have to say is Legos, and that's all we have to say.
God, Legos are evil. But yeah,
Yes,
I hope
showing up for me.
I want the infantry and Trish to have more depth as to, and like you said, give me the why I should support them, because if you can give me that much, I will be 100% on board, because I like their characters, I like the aesthetic, I think all 3 of them are great. I just need that last little piece and be like, all right, I care about you, let's do this. Like,
yeah, I'm in on your moveset. I'm in on your abilities. Show me why I should care about you, because other people can do this.
And it's
just as well as you can.
And it's been proven. Like, I'm gonna use this as an example. So when I was watching the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view with my friend that I usually watch wrestling
pay-per-view
with.
dropper.
Pay-per-view drop. And you know what? He doesn't follow Ring of Honor as closely as we do, but just with the character work and the little bit that the Kingdom like gave at the pay-per-view, he's like, yo, I'm kind of fans of the Kingdom. I'm like, me too. You should see their character work. But I think it's important, because if you give that how and give me a reason to care, like, you will make me more invested in everything. But, this match, it was what it was, but
it was. We got through it, and the infantry won as they were going to, and it was a nice celebration with Trish Adora in the ring afterwards. But it was another squash match. And then we move on to another one, which, again, Lee Moriarty, really excited to see you moving aside from Big Bill and getting back to what you're really good at as well, because as much as I love the tag team of you two,
We need more
I kind of
singles
really
with
like Brian
Lee.
Cage and Bill.
Yeah, me
Yeah, oh yeah.
too.
But the moment, this was the moment of the night for me, was in this match though. As much as I hated this match, my moment of the night, I think you know what I'm about to say, right?
I think I do, but
It was the bridge into the submission that went to a pin, and then him just sitting there with his arms crossed, still in the bridge, like, yeah, I'm better than you. I'm awesome. I'm Lee Moriarty. Look how flexible I am.
I know. Moriarty hitting the clothesline and then getting from the airplane spin into the border city stretch, and then I love these wrestling characters that have a cockiness to them, but their skills it's warranted. Like they can back up that cockiness.
Right. And so again, we look at this with against the infantry match. Lee Moriarty, while not as well defined as many other superstars out there, he can do things differently and takes the time within the match to sell why we should hate or love him. We go back to the infantry. If they had done that spinning DDT and then taken time, not to just do a generic like, hey, but like it's a tag, or like there's some like combination in there, or just a thing to celebrate it in character, I could get on board with it more. Whereas Lee Moriarty is like, I am fucking badass. Look at how good I am at this.
Gosh, man. I
put him in pure. Get him against, against Josh.
Josh Woods.
Josh Woods, or like somebody else, where they're tying each other in knots. Like, I cannot wait to see this.
Listen, like Lee versus Josh. Lee, like, I don't know if it's happening because Wheeler's dealing with Blackpool Combat Black Hole over Dynamite, but
he's not dealing with it. He's just been sucked in, and he's.
But Lee versus Wheeler. Lee versus Shibata at one point. Like, I've always been a big fan of Lee Moriarty, and I want him to be able to do more. I still think his theme kind of goes hard still.
Oh my! It's on my workout playlist. I love it so much.
Oh man! Again, if done right, like the cocky heel, but the skills back it up, is beautiful. I just give me more Lee Moriarty.
Yeah, well, and so I'll go back to this too. Like, I have known Lee Moriarty since, and I double checked this to make sure it did happen. I forget the actual Dynamite or Rampage it was on. Moriarty proved his mettle when he went up against Danielson and like took him to the limit, like went violent with Danielson. So that's where we get that stuff. Like this is a person who has showcased this and finally found his confidence. We have other people in this roster that have done the same thing on different levels. Let them turn it up a bit more, because it's time to get that, I hate to say sports entertainment part of it up, but that's what's going to turn the last notch for us to care. So there we go. Defeats Andrew Everett in stellar fashion. Love you, Lee Moriarty. Then we move on.
Okay, so I would like to put a disclaimer.
Canceling the match again. I'm getting on board with this. I'm canceling the match. We're doing this thing. I love it so much.
I love it. So we'll talk about this, and the match itself, it was what it was. But I want to make a disclaimer. We're about to talk about this match. I consider this elder abuse.
I don't know. Pat Bucket dyed his hair, so he looked very young.
I know, but okay. So we'll get into everything, and then I'll give my critiques, because I was like, as fun as this was, I was just like, So Tony Nese being Tony Nese in this whole like really horrible like health nut heel character is so good. I love it so much. Yeah. I had to pause because I was crying of laughter when he insulted Waffle House. I was like,
yeah. And that ties in later to the match, which we'll get to. But like, yeah, he went after Waffle. He's like, I told him to send me to a health food store, and they sent me to a Waffle House. And like, Nese is living this and loving every bit of it. Mark Sterling's adding to it, and I thought it was interesting. They mentioned the varsity athlete, the complete athlete, Tony Nese.
Yep,
so
because
they've taken the athletes out of it. It's back down to Nese again.
Because Josh Woods like had broken up. Like, I was just like, oh no, what happened?
Which we get later on.
Yeah.
So Tony Nese does his usual thing and says, I'm canceling the match. We're doing an entire thing of group workout or group training.
I love that the crowd is slowly more and more getting into it.
Well, on top of that, commentary had to get on during the Chiron afterwards to go, no, this is actually still happening. Tony Nese can't cancel his match. We've been told it's still happening. And then Tony Nese comes out and it's like, no, it's not. So they're
I
arguing internally in kayfabe, which I love this too.
That's why I will forever say that Ian and Caprice are like the
Priest.
best duo commentary people across all the brands that we watch. They are still my favorites.
And they work well. They're one of the few that works well, specifically in a 3-person if they have Nigel McGuinness with them.
God, those three together, it's gold.
Also. But so we get out to the match. Tony Nese comes back out and goes, and again, we're going to do group training. And he starts to say, get up. And they gave him time to see if this would get over. So people were stretching. Like the crowd was getting up to do training with them. Like,
See,
except for
I
you
love.
see the one guy who's just doing this the whole time.
I was like, sir, you need to.
I'm in shape. I'm in shape.
I was like, sir, you need to. I'm like, you're like, metaphorically speaking, you need to have several seats.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
But see, even that part, I was just like, that was funny. And then, everyone's doing it. And then all of a sudden, this is where elder abuse comes in because Pat Buck, of all people, comes out. And I was just like,
former WWE producer, Pat Buck.
I was just like, okay, sure. And so then this match happens. Obviously,
Can I also ask, his ring attire, Pat's attire, looked like when Ron Simmons was the Gladiator in the 90s. Except for the helmet. Like, it looked a little weird, and he had definitely re-dyed his hair to look like basically Sheamus red. It was crazy.
I was like, oh, Pat, you are a man of a different era. You look like you stepped out of a time machine.
Wholeheartedly, but he was way more agile than I thought he would be. Like,
I forgot how
blown away by how good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I'll be honest, I underestimated you, Pat. Like, I forget that you can kind of still go, but
he can go harder than Christopher Daniels. Like, I honestly,
that's
I watched
crazy.
Pat Buck Daniels match.
Ooh, give me the geriatrics going at it.
Geriatric title, the G title. It'd be the G climax. My sciatica. It's the sciatica X division. But for that, the other part is I loved Pat smiling when the crowd started chanting Waffle House.
He knows it's still. I love that he's acknowledging the silliness, like Waffle House.
Well, and as a producer, he's like, I'm acknowledging that got over. Like, good job on you, Tony. This is hysterical. They're chanting Waffle House. And this was a pretty good back and forth match. I was actually surprised it went like as well as it did. Again, Pat was bumping all over and taking a lot of stuff, but Nese outlasted him. It wasn't that Nese was better than him. He outlasted him.
That's very true. Like, okay, Tony Nese is just an awesome athlete. Like, towards the beginning of the match, he did that springboard moonsault for a near fall. And the fact that Pat hit a sky high for a near fall too, I was like, yes. And the fact that Pat was setting up Nese for a power bomb too, I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, yes, give it to me. Oh no, okay. But that transition from Nese from that attempted power bomb into a cradle for a near fall was awesome. And then of course, running knee is what ended up, getting Tony the win.
Which usually happens, but it was that thing. This match also got me thinking, like, because my brain was going out to like, okay, Pat Buck's back here. We can bring other people back that have been out for a while, or like bringing these cool, like older generational things. Where has Danhausen been?
To my knowledge, last I checked, I don't know if he's still on the injured list or what. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but that brings me into my big critique for this match.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of Ring of Honor men on the you have men on the Ring of Honor roster. You also can pull some people who aren't currently doing anything right now on AEW. And I don't get me wrong, I love Pat Buck, but I was not sure why he needed to be the one to come out and face Tony, like, and have a match per se. Like, in a weird way, like if Christopher Daniels came out like that, I get that because like he's semi-regular on television.
Right, yeah. And he's also the head of HR, so they want him to actually attack them. But
and don't get me wrong, I love Pat Buck, but I'm like, you have a bunch of other options. Like, why?
Yeah. Why?
But Waffle House is probably the best thing that made me chuckle really hard.
It brought me back a bit. Again, this was very late at night, so I was like nodding off for a lot of it, but I enjoyed this match for what it was. It got out of the squash area, but it still wasn't enough to pull it back from where it had been. It was driving down like the middle of the road. Just, it was a pleasant drive.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a pleasant drive in the Midwest. Nothing to look at, pretty flat, got you where you needed to go. On occasion, a cool little sign here and there, but nothing big. Then we get to we move on and we do another proving ground match because if there's anyone in this company that's at least showcasing their title, it's Athena. And Athena's not defending the title, but it's basically, and she said it herself, it's like I'm defending the title every week because it basically is. What's up with the other titles here? Because we're not seeing even the television title, which should be on television at all times.
You can still
but
have
we're not seeing them at all.
yes. You could take the concept of a proving ground match and add it. This is my biggest issue because Ring of Honor right now, I was just like, listen, I know Claudio has ties to Ring of Honor, and I was so happy when he initially.
Does he anymore? Because he's not been on it in
that's
over a month.
That's what I'm bringing up. I was like, initially I was happy when he won it because I was like, okay, cool, Claudio's gonna be on Ring of Honor, but he's in the black hole that is BCC drama right now. I was just like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that way, but I feel like you should probably get that title off Claudio and actually put it on Ring of Honor. The secondary problem with that is I'm looking around. I'm like, who realistically should be having that title in the men's division? I was just like, nobody to me seems like.
No one's been built up enough to do it. The closest you can get is like half the people in the television title tournament or Samoa Joe. Like,
you know what? There. Just because I'm manifesting it, it's not going to happen. But Dalton Castle is Ring of Honor. Honestly,
let's do it. Let's do it and have the boys carry the title out behind him and all that stuff. Yeah, no, I would sit there for that. I would be there. Or honestly, Josh Woods.
Seriously, let him
sticking on him.
Yeah, stick it on him for a little bit. Like, honestly, have him and Tony go at it for a little bit, and then you can build up to Josh and Dalton because they also have history too, previously in Ring of Honor.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm all about that. Don't put it on Pat Buck. Don't put it on Pat Buck. But put it on somebody else that's going to be on day to day. Have Claudio finish up what he's doing, and then come back as not even like you could even build it where Stokely as the heel is like, you haven't been here. We're vacating your title because all you're doing is bringing it to. You're using it as a prop. So you've defended it on a couple pay-per-views. You haven't been here day to day. We're taking it off you until you either choose us or choose them, and put it on Josh Woods, and then we can have like the whole like who's the legitimate champion, all that stuff. The other champion. Have a council of champions. Get Shibata and Athena and and Samoa Joe and all the singles champions in a room, or get all the champions and going, where do you lie here? What's going on here?
Like have some tables set up, like for the comedic event, have some snacks set up.
And you can even build this as like not an invasion, but like brand warfare between ROH and AEW, and then all of a sudden you've got like where do you lie? Because you've got the ROH original, you've got all that stuff.
I have a fantasy storyline, like fantasy booking booking storyline. So okay, because I just thought about it. So okay. I need to work out the details, but so this idea of the champions being like, yo, Claudio, you're kind of being disrespectful to Ring of Honor because you're not here every day. You're the main, you have the big title, and you're not here defending it, having proving ground matches. Like, you're not even wrestling. Face of
the brand, but you're not.
Yeah, you're the face of the brand, but you're not here. And then I want there to be like, Claudio's like, no. I was like, I know I'm the best, so none of you can. Unless one of you can come and wrestle me and take this title by force off me, not necessarily become champion, but take it off me is fine. And then, as Claudio is saying this to the face of the champion, who steps up to kind of take care of this? Your current Ring of Honor Pure Rules champion, Shibata, steps up and is like, I know I can beat you. In fact, I'm the older version of you. I want Shibata to go full like cocky face, but we know Shibata can go. This is like, you are the Swiss younger version of me. I'm the one that put the groundwork in for you to even have this. So if anyone's going to take this title off you, it's going to be me. And then you set up the stipulation that if Shibata wins, he takes that title off of Claudio. If Claudio wins, then he keeps it, and then maybe throw in something like Shibata has to like acknowledge Claudio as like the new face or the new version of him or whatever. But ultimately, in my head, Shibata, they should do like a 2 out of 3 falls, and Shibata wins in the final pinfall. Claudio gets the first one, Shibata gets the second, and then they go for a long time for the third pinfall with Shibata barely getting a win. So
Can I honestly add like I want to add some spice to your thing here because this is perfect as it is.
mhm.
But I have this weird like overbooking, but it'd be fun to have thing. BCC or at least Wheeler Yuta gets involved during the 2 out of 3 falls match, trying to cost Shibata or like BCC in general, like try to swarm it. Who backs up Shibata? Josh freaking Woods.
Yes.
After the respect
Yes.
paid to him and everything else, he comes out, evens the odds, beats off, like not beats off, takes Moxley out, ties up Wheeler Yuta,
Ski
which
team.
can set up then Woods versus Yuta at some point down the line in a pure rules match or anything else. And Moxley like is like, what is this place anymore? Like I'm not in. This is not violent enough for me. This is wrestling. Ugh. Like leaves it alone, which can then set up Danielson to come back down at some point or do anything else like that. But that way you have the intrigue on both sides. It's not just the two, which it could just be the two, but I think the overbooking might help.
Look at that. Tony Khan, Stokely, Jerry Lynn. Like we just
Maria Kanellis Bennett.
Well, okay. I want to say I give Maria a pass because at least Maria is the one character who's actually doing stuff on screen. Not only is she like with the kingdom as part of their faction, but she's actually doing scouting during these matches too. So I was just
I believe that that's tied to. I think they've actually been asking her to produce a couple of the women's matches now and like start the coach in that coach in that way, but like just a booker.
Maria is a good producer when it comes to the women's matches. She was in charge before the COVID era. She
was ROH's women's division.
She really helped to build ROH's women's division pre-COVID, and in fact, I don't want to say she's responsible for like the Ring of Honor stars that have gone to other promotions now, but like she helped bring that women's division up. Like she's the one who decided that Roxy should be getting a championship reign because of how talented she is. Like that women's division was starting to get built. And then COVID happened and kind of ruined everything.
And I think that they're finally coming back around to like how it was working, and she's being involved more, which is perfect. Again, we've talked about all this. We haven't talked about the match that this was based on the ideas with, which was the Proving Ground match between Athena and Rachel Ellering, which honestly was pretty damn good.
See, so I love Rachel, not for the fact that she is the child of legend Paul Ellering, like.
Which they didn't bring up his wrestling acumen first. He's like, first off, strongman and bodybuilding champion Paul Ellering.
I was like,
and then they talked about the Road Warriors afterwards.
I was like, come on, you guys, like I get it, but I was just like, Paul Ellering I'm one of the few people that believes that Paul Ellering has actually been has left a mark on wrestling history, and he should be given his props more. I'm spoiled with Rachel because she had her stint in Impact Wrestling. And her teaming up with Jordan Grace as the tag team, my God, they ran through the tag team division. And even in singles matches, like she and Jordan had some one-off singles matches, and they were fucking fantastic. Homegirl knows her stuff, and like I was sad. I was sad when her time was up, and she's like, "I'm gonna go do some other things." I'm like, "No, stay in Impact."
But she's moving on to other things, which I love for her because she is that confident in what she knows what she's about and how she can move in the ring. My thing with this was like, one, Athena has been against two now. Like if you look back at Charlotte Marie and now this, two pretty wrestlers that are getting great matches together that both got very close to taking her out or at least lasting the time. Honestly, this match, I was very disappointed that they didn't give Rachel the time to hang through. Like they got her down to the wire before, but it became down to like she could have probably, if she wanted to, get out of the ring, take the time up, do all that stuff. Because Athena celebrating, every time she celebrated off a move, I was like, oh, you're winding the clock down. You don't realize that you're winding the clock down and just like eating your time up. But give Ellering that win there, because I think this is a person that you could take into, okay, you've earned a title shot. It's still going to be a bit of a squash, but now we're starting to see Athena get better competition that's getting through the first line of defense that may not still get the title, but it's showing cracks in the armor for her to go, oh crap, I've gotten complacent. I'm not working that hard and all that stuff. So like, and that comes up later on with there was the reverse squash that happened with the Renegades match, which we'll get into the Renegades later. But so this, I felt for Rachel. She did a great job selling. Athena and her worked really well together. She is damn tough and should be signed to ROH as a regular talent to come out and do stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I want signed Rachel because I think it's a travesty to not pin her down.
She has gotten past the name, and she has her own thing. And I think getting her on the
Exactly.
mic as well, she'll be perfectly fine. But this could have been an amazing way to like start that thing with Athena, get it like slowly build it to December where she's not losing matches, but just the time limit's getting to her now. She's still running roughshod over these people, but she's not sealing the deal. And so she's having to re-wrestle them again. And that'll be a fresh way to do two matches with the same person,
Right.
which gives you longer builds for things.
And
Tony, if you're listening,
yes,
this is how you stretch it. If you're not stretching well with anything else, go look at our AEW review. But stretch everything else.
I don't know what you're talking about. The AEW reviews are concise and to the point.
Yeah, to all 7 points that John and I make in the span of a minute.
But they're all important. But honestly, we'll talk about it when we get to the other
penultimate match of the night. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like,
Yeah.
I see potential for a feud here, and honestly, if they wanted to, the person involved in that penultimate match, I'm like, I think this actually could. I would be fine if this would be the person to kind of push Thena to her limits and maybe take the title from her for a little bit. And
Well,
I will die on that hill, and I will give my reasoning why when we get there.
I would love that. The other thing that came to my head after this match was like fantasy booking hat on. You stick Rachel Ellering, Charlotte Marie, and Diamante in a triple threat for a number one contender spot to take her on, because they were the three that took her to the limit.
Exactly.
So,
I would love that.
Yeah. But then we move on to what was basically another squash match for the most part because JD Drake has no help. Anthony Henry is a dead weight in this team. He wasn't as bland as he has been, and having him do a promo earlier, I was like, oh, you can speak.
Hashtag justice for JD Drake.
Yeah, this is. I did enjoy JD Drake popping out of that promo and just like, you don't scare me. I'm not scared of you. What is it? You think I'm scared? Like he's really up and like fired up about it. It was so good.
I just tweaked the voice a little bit. It's like, what you mean about? I forget about. I was like, Tony D'Angelo, is that you?
Oh God, no. So we move on. We move on to the Gates of Agony with Prince Nana taking on the Workhorsemen with on the line. If the Workhorsemen win, they can get a shot at the trios title if they find a partner of their choice. And honestly, I kind of believe because storyline wise, if you want to do something with this, that the Workhorsemen were going to pull this one out because you want to keep furthering stories. But spoiler alert,
they didn't.
Gates of Agony wrecked them.
I will say
hard,
like unnecessarily so. Like this was I mean, it was a championship match like 2 weeks ago, but the Iron Savages had a better shot at taking down.
Well, and they, I hate to say it, the Iron Savages wrestled a better match against them.
That is very true.
Again, Anthony Henry, you are dead weight, and I say that as he's a man who could literally bend me apart and break me. I understand this in real life. I have no chance to say this, but I don't know what's going on with how they're presenting you with creative, but you deserve better. You're just not doing. You're not getting that whatever they're giving.
Yeah,
you because there's not much.
Also, this match should have been a 2-on-1 because JD was like pulling the weight for both of them, and he was like, oof.
Yeah.
By the way, as a side note too, every time I look at Prince Nana now, just for what happened on Dynamite just lives rent free in my head with. Exactly. I was like, I don't care what nobody says. My friend thinks Prince Nana's annoying. I was like, you shut your mouth. I love Prince Nana. He is great.
Well, and your friend thinks he's annoying. He's still thinking about him and reacting to him. So Nana's getting the reaction he wants. So that's awesome. But Gates of Agony win a pretty easy one against the Workhorsemen, and JD Drake and Anthony Henry do not get a shot at the trios titles. So nothing gets furthered.
Also, whoever thought that this match needed 11 minutes if it wasn't even going to be an even back and forth needs to be fired. If you weren't going to if you were just going to have, if you were going to let Khan and Toa Leona just like destroy them, this should have been like 5 minutes. But it Seriously. Is what it is.
I mean, there were, the thing about it is like looking at the other matches on this card, there weren't places you really wanted to give more time to because none of them were really had high stakes enough to deserve that. And these were two teams that are established, so I can see why they gave it the most. It was the longest match on the night, like it was overall. But yeah, it didn't need that long. I think they could have cut it like 2 minutes out of this to 3, and it would have been fine.
Yeah. All right.
Now, our next stop here, ROH At first, I was going to be like, oh no, you're backsliding. This isn't going to work. You pulled it out. You let Layla Hirsch start to talk and get there, which is not her strong suit, but she was better. She had very easy things to say. And then you brought in Maria Kanellis to smooth it over
Yes,
and set her up.
exactly. Like Marie, what was the line that Maria said? Basically, she gave Layla her accolades. Was like, you need to gain more confidence, girl. Like you need to, and then you'll be great. I was just like, yes, this is what I need. This is why I think Maria Kanellis is a great on-screen character and a backstage producer for the women's division, because this is like in character, but this is also like her quote Layla's quote unquote boss in the women's division. Like, girl, you got this, but you need more confidence in yourself.
Exactly. Well, and more than just like talking big game. And
Mm-hmm.
Layla can destroy. And as we've said for a couple weeks now, you give her a mouthpiece or someone to help her out with that stuff, and then you just do what you did here, which is this squash match, super quick worked, but it showcases how much of a monster she is. She's not ready to go for the title yet, even though she's already calling out Athena. Get her a couple of bigger matches. Get her up against Rachel Ellering. Get her up against Charlotte Marie. Get that shine from hanging with Athena on her,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got your match in December for the next pay per view right there.
Yeah. I listen, I will forever and a day. I love Layla so much. I'm so
Oh
happy
my
that she's
gosh.
back. I'm glad that she's actually they put her in Ring of Honor, because I feel like, not no shade to Dynamite, but as bad as Ring of Honor has been, like how mid Ring of Honor has been in terms of just like we're just getting fluff every single week. I feel she's a little more safer in Ring of Honor than if she were on AEW.
Hey Tony, the fluff of the women's division in Ring of Honor is more captivating than what you put on this week in Dynamite. Just saying.
Seriously, I'm just for rails.
And
Okay,
just so we can bring when we actually get the graphic to bring the counter down here, that's the second women's match of the night. The second.
two.
There's more to come. So, and we've had 2 promos. So, I'm all good with that. We'll move on from that. That was a quick thing there. And we then get the back to back of Maria Kanellis being involved with Cole Carter, who thinks that she wants to bone him.
Okay, like the
I don't see
this
the point of this.
the theater of it with Cole Carter's character and Maria, I was just like, okay, like ew. First of all,
Yeah.
second of
Yeah.
all, I'm just like, oh, this match was not great.
No.
I was just like, there was a couple of miscues, and just Cole doesn't seem. Rhett carried this kid through this match,
Yeah.
which makes sense because
And
Rhett is a veteran. But man, this was
Brett
not
is
great.
Brett is ROH, and Cole Carter seems greener than he was last week, as if he didn't learn anything from. Like, I don't know what's going on. Who is this? Who are you? Again, we come back to the infantry and stuff like that. Who are you? And you're defining yourself by Maria, who doesn't know who you are either. You're just defining yourself as a sex pest. Like, are they setting up that Mike Bennett, who is proven he's not insecure, he doesn't care what Maria does because they're married. Like, what do you? I words,
I know.
literal word. I have nothing for this.
See, I rather talk about Mike Bennett at this match, because this served no purpose. Like, this is boring. There was miscues. Like, Carter is. I know you want me I know they're trying to push him over. I was just like, but I don't like him like this.
But push in what direction?
I know exactly. That's what I'm
They're
saying.
telling us that we should pay attention to him. But there's like, okay, so my eyes are on him now. You've given him TV time. What am I taking from this? I don't need my hand held to figure some things out, but they talk about Roderick Strong being basic white guy, basic white bitch, create a wrestler, whatever. Cole Carter is what Roderick Strong is trying to be, which is basic, weird, cocky white guy. Like, and he's not like Cole Carter is in the same vein as Slim J, and Slim J's entertaining. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me or not on this one. Like, it's crazy.
I don't know. Honestly, this was probably like the downer for me of the whole entire episode. I was like, this was not great. Just from
Yeah,
like
this is
it wasn't Botchamania worthy, but it was just like,
that would have made it entertaining.
yes, that's what I'm saying. It would have been entertaining, but I was just like, man, I have never felt so in. The last time I felt this indifferent was during the first half of SummerSlam, but I was just like, ugh.
Ooh, shots fired. Shots fired.
Listen, I will, now that I've had time to reflect, Logan, the first half, everything up until we got to Drew versus Gunther it wasn't horrible. It was fine. The opening match,
It was what it was.
fine. Cody versus Brock, I ended up liking it more than I should have. And honestly, best out of the trilogy. Then everything after that was like,
Exactly.
And that's how I felt about this match. I was like,
I will encapsulate my feelings in this. I was watching it late at night, trying to get it done after my play that went on. This was where I realized I had fallen asleep. Like I had nodded off, and I woke up in the next match.
Honestly,
I saw the entrances, and then I woke up in the next match, and then I had to rewatch it this morning. I'm like, I missed nothing.
Speaking of the next match, we got another women's match.
And this one was surprising because it had people involved that have been pushed in a weird way, and they didn't win.
I know. So we see Robin Renegade taking on my girl, Billy Starks. I love Billy.
Dressed up like Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. I loved it.
Yes.
So good.
See, I put Billy Starks in the category of prodigies because, if you look into Billy Starks' history, her dad is like a big British wrestler, like big name in the British wrestling scene, maybe not in the Americas, but I was like, yes. And in fact, that's what they were going. I'm so happy to see her still have fine success, after the dissolution of NXT UK, because she had some fun matches in NXT UK as well. But Robin Renegade taking on Billy Starks. She is the prodigy.
What's going on with the Renegades?
I don't know,
What's going on with the Renegades?
Billy is a prodigy. I put her in the category of like, this is what she was built to do this, in the same vein of Saraya and Nick Wayne. Like Roxanne Perez. Like literally these kids spent their whole entire developmental years doing nothing but wrestling.
Right. Yeah.
And she is a prodigy. Man,
she was amazing. She actually carried Robin to a really interesting match, which is saying something because the Renegades are still trying to figure out what their moveset is, let alone their tag. The problem comes back to you're booking singles matches with with one of the few tag teams you have, and it's not getting either of them over. And when they have a tag match, they're not in sync because they haven't been wrestling together in a while. Are you trying to break them up and make them different? Because you're not doing that. But still, it didn't hurt Billy. Billy shone in this match. Robin did what she could to help her, but she did all of it herself when Billy did.
Okay, Starks, like, I love Billy so much. Like, okay, like, I popped at a lot of things that Billy did, but that's because I might be biased because I know how good she is. But the Insiguri with the combo with the hook kick, I was just like, oh my God, yes. And then to go from that into a gory bomb, I was like,
oh. And I watched that happen, and I'm going, they did something semi-similar in the main event on Dynamite, and it was so much slower and not as fluid. And I'm like, this young wrestler has got so much more potential, and I haven't seen her on the mic yet. I don't know if she's got the charisma to back it. But this... And she's right where she needs to be position-wise. Hopefully she starts to like not have the jobber entrance where she actually comes out as being signed. God. Because then she's already gotten Athena on her case who came back out to beat the crap out of her.
We'll talk about that in a sec, but this finishing sequence was a work of beauty. Like, Starks dubs Robin to the floor, and then she hits both of the Renegade twins with the plancha. Jesus Christ. And then she throws Robin back in the ring to hit a beautiful swanton for the win.
It was like vintage Jeff Hardy from 2000.
Yes.
She is that fluid.
I was like, you are 18 and I'm okay. I still want you to be safe, but like, I'm not as worried as you about it.
You're still growing. Take care of yourself.
For real. So I was like, you just graduated high school. Like, girl, like, please take care of yourself. But after this match though, so, okay. So after this match, the twins are double teaming and then
I mean, I can say I've seen a movie that starts like that too, but that's beside the point.
I have seen a couple movies like that, but that's neither here nor there.
This is a family show.
Yes, we won't get into.
Hence the family of the Renegades.
The Renegade tweets for reals. And then I will say I was like, okay, where are we going with this? Because then Athena comes out and she literally gives the boot to Robin and then lays out Charlotte with the forearm, and then she sets up to take Billy to drive her headfirst at the title. But then she's like, nah, she's like trolled her. And then it was just like, interesting.
Second week in a row. That
first with Diamante and now with Billy. I was just like, are we So I was like, Athena, what are we doing? Like, are we maybe slightly showing some face tendencies? It's like, girl, I know I'm the greatest, but I need more competition. I was like, you're lacking this. Go find it. Like literally, she's the metaphorical. Like she's sending girls that go on a vision quest. Be like, I
Well,
need.
she is the fallen goddess. I mean, she's sending them to her oracle to figure out who the hell they are.
I mean, Diamante's apparently Athena sent Diamante to her Diamante's oracle, which is in the form of Mercedes Martinez, which I'm like smart choice by the way.
Very much so. Yeah, oh yeah.
Ah man, like Billy, I'm so interested. I'm like, like Athena, are we getting more face tendencies? Like, I like the idea of her still being a heel, but it was like I ran through all these women already, and you have to bring women in. Like, I'm trying to build this division up. Like, I need better competition because I'm getting bored. And
Yeah.
I still love
her image.
I still love the running gag too. It's just like Lexi, the backstage interviewer. Lexi, if I don't find competition soon, like we're gonna have to fight, girl. Like, like I love Lexi. Like I love the running gag that Lexi's like, okay, we need to find some good women talent around here because I'm not trying to fight Thena. She will kill me.
Maybe Billy is now the avatar there, like helping Lexi out to keep Lexi safe.
Honestly, like being Lexi's bodyguard, that'd be hilarious. See, like as silly as it is, I would be entertained. And honestly, this is where I'm going to go into it. I think if you continue to build and book Billy correctly, and then Athena's like is happy for that Billy is actually showing the edge, but then you start to make her a little paranoid and be like, hold up, she's getting too good for me now. Hang on.
Yeah.
And then you get Billy and Athena to build the feud, and then whether it's on Ring of Honor, but I would say save it for the pay-per-view. Billy versus Athena would be fantastic.
Very much so. Well, and that takes us, again, here's the counter. Third women's match of the night. That takes us to the TK accountability corner for ROH. If you're ready, Mikey, I'm going to dive in quickly and speak to our best friend, Tony Khan, here.
This is going to be another, this time, the Ring of Honor edition of the Tony Khan accountability corner. Go ahead, bud. Take it away.
Hi, Tony. It's been a day, hasn't it? Literally a day since we talked last. I know you're getting sick of this. I know you're really not into listening to people criticize the fact that you're doing the same thing over and over. And I realize these are taped in between things or anything else. But Tony, come here. I want to sit you down. I want you to look at this, a pretty middle of the road ROH episode. And look what you did, or not you, I'm assuming it wasn't you, with the women's matches here. You made a wonderful first proving ground match that seemed like it was caliber of almost a pay-per-view with someone who hasn't even been signed. You then moved on and built up a character using other people in the women's division to then set up storylines farther down. And then you had the complete through line of the night come back into a new star who's interacting with your only star. 3 matches, all of them under 5 minutes. And you got more done than you have in 5 freaking months with pay-per-views for your main brand shows, both of them, and Rampage. Do you just not pay attention to ROH? Are you not even involved? Because I can't fathom how both are different. You've got the same level of talent on both sides in all of your different shows that are separated and together. And you can't find literally 15 minutes within the 5 hours of TV you have for more women's matches? I'm bad at time management. I'm horrible at it. But I can at least still find 15 minutes to do the things I need to do to make my life better sometimes. You can't find 15 minutes to put on a couple different matches so that the perception of your women's wrestlers aren't that they only get special treatment when you feel sad, and that they don't also feel like they have to be 70,000 times better because they are the only representation of themselves. I need you, Tony, to look at ROH, take some lessons from it soon, and get them set up. I'm getting sick and tired of having to sit here and talk to you about this because I'm saying the same thing every freaking week, twice a week. Book the women. Trust the women. and let us enjoy good wrestling. This has been my very short TK Accountability Corner. Nothing I haven't said before.
Bravo, excelente.
Not really. That was angry. I'm not happy about it. And again, this is going to take, as I said before on the AEW review, go back and watch it and share. This whole thing with Tony doing what he's doing is going to crank down half a, half a mini off of all my ratings of all these shows. So it will happen until something happens better.
Yep. And you're exactly right. And we brought this up on a couple of other occasions while reviewing Ring of Honor 2. It feels so different. Like, I feel like different people are in charge of booking between the main AEW product and then Ring of Honor. Like, it feels so weird. And to a certain extent, like, it seems that there's somebody else at Collision, because I was like, holy crap, you have 4 women on television screen this coming Saturday? I was like, gasp.
Yeah, there is definitely, I think that shows also the power of the booking of the people involved, like CM Punk and stuff like that, who are big proponents of women's wrestling. Like, they're trying to help. Why Tony is so reticent to actually like listen to what's working is beyond me. And it's across the except for that indie Impact you watch, it's across the board that everyone else is
Watch
not
it.
using. I'm gonna get another lightning strike from Tony Khan, even though I'm talking about Impact. I know it's gonna happen, but it breaks my heart because there is such a kernel of greatness here that can be spread apart, that isn't in a different promotion. Like, it's not stealing an idea. It's your own freaking idea. Why can't you let that grow on the other stuff? I honestly want to know what's stopping you from taking the lessons here and using them somewhere else. And it's driving me insane. Mikey, clear my palate, please. I can't think about this anymore. I'm happy for Billy Starks. Billy Sparks. I want her to really
I would like Athena and Billy to have a feud. I think there's a possibility there. I do like this new shift in Athena's character. It's adding a depth to it where she's so bored of beating everyone and being cocky about it. She's like, I want these women to get better. Like, go do this, go do that. Like, when it's literally Athena is the quest giver in any given JRPG RPG video game. It's just like, I have a quest for you. Go and do the side quest real quick and then come back to the main story, which is me.
Yeah, I'm the BBEG. That's where I'm going to sit here. You're not leveled up to meet me here, and I have literally killed off every other adventuring party. So I'll be nice. I'll help you here by sending you to a place where you can get better, because I need somebody to come and do this right now.
It's like that being... It's just like, just let me die, Brian.
Nope.
Well,
and then we come to our final match of the night, Mikey.
The main event, which honestly I was a little disappointed of.
Yeah, I was surprised how disappointed I was with this.
Like, and you know what? I will not. People are be like, "Oh, Shane Taylor can't go that long." I'm like, absolutely lies. Shane Taylor is one of the few big guys that can go for a while. I'm not upset that this was a shorter match. Like, I get it because, Gravity has to fight up against the power that is Shane Taylor. What irritated me during this match was just how unbalanced the offense and defense was, because Gravity was more on the defensive during this whole entire 5.5 minute match and didn't really get to do much. And Shane Taylor was just throwing and ragdolling him all over the place. And it makes me sad.
Ragdoll spots, strength spots. Gravity may have gotten 1 or 2 hits in, but most of his offense wasn't even phasing Shane Taylor. And if you want to say, Gravity's been set up as a pretty decent and strong. I mean, he's Bandito's brother. They're pretty strong. Like, it shouldn't be. He's not one of the smaller luchadors. Like, he's a big luchador. This should have been a little more competitive, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I wanted more from this match, because when we got the tournament initially, I was just like, you know what? Okay. I was like, I can probably figure out who's going to make it to the finals. But then I got excited. I was like, you know what? The prospect of these two fighting each other is going to be great. And then we got this, and I was like, oh. I'm like, I'm so disappointed.
I had the same feeling with the build-up to it, kind of what ended up happening in WWE a few years ago with the AJ Nakamura match. I think it was built up by seeing how they had gotten to it to be better than it was going to be, because they do seem to be good workers. Same thing with Shane Taylor and Gravity. And it just couldn't live up to that. But the problem with this was it wasn't like built up from history of those two. It was built up by ROH showcasing Gravity as amazing in the first two matches and Shane Taylor being dominant, and they didn't let both of those styles clash. They turned it into a simple big man versus small man match, which wasn't a squash, but it seemed like Gravity just couldn't get momentum enough to have that turn to be dangerous. And Shane Taylor just kind of ran through him, which also makes me think, how is this going to work against Joe? Because Joe and Shane Taylor are about the same build. So you're going to have those big man spots for a bit, but Joe is a lot more agile in certain ways and a lot more crafty than Shane Taylor is. And they really haven't built up Shane Taylor as being a thoughtful wrestler as much as a powerful wrestler.
Yeah, I will say, when we got this tournament 2 weeks ago, oh god, 2-3 weeks ago, and then we had to sit through the quarterfinals in one episode. I was like, I will say though, I still think the right person won this tournament. I think Shane Taylor is great. I'm glad he won. Honestly, I would have been fine either way, but Shane versus Joe is going to be great given the fact that we kind of already saw Joe versus Gravity on.
We did.
I mean, kind of. And I was just like, okay, so Shane versus Joe, I think is going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to. I love anytime Joe is in the ring because I'm keeping a counter. I was like, when is he going to do the nah spot where Joe just walks away?
Especially with Shane Taylor, because he'll be coming off to do something. It'll be crazy. It'll be awesome. So I hope this turns into something better, but it just seemed like it was kind of a wet fart to end the tournament, which had already had problems going into it with 4 tournament matches in one night. Then you had the semifinals last week. It was like it was building it too fast to get to it.
Well, on top of that too, like it's the same when we saw the bracket of when it first began, and I looked at the bracket, it's the same. I had the same critiques as I gave during the Dynamite review of the women's tournament for the spots at the Fatal 4-Way at All In. I was just like, you made it so predictable who's moving on to the semifinals. I was just like, okay. Gravity.
There's also ways to get around that.
Yeah, Tony Nese, Shane Taylor,
Tournaments haven't been weirdly for a company that has done tournaments so well, both ROH and AEW for the last couple of years. This one was the first kind of misstep, and I think it's also based around the fact that they continue to have this tournament every couple of weeks.
We just had a tournament before the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. Like, I don't want another one.
Better tournament.
Honestly, that was a better. But you want to know why it was better? Because it was only 4 semifinals. We started in the semifinals, and it was only we only had 4 semifinals. No, not even that.
Nope.
We had 2 semifinal matches where it was just 4 individuals, and then Dalton Castle versus Shane Taylor, and then Dalton got the win. And I was like, shorter tournaments are okay with me. We don't need to do a full 8 spread bracket. Like, that's.
I could see that being a thing like a King of the Ring or something else where you start the whole pay-per-view story is this tournament.
Shit.
But this was it. Like, this is if just building to basically another thing.
And if you want to include more people, like, because I know people complain, it's like, you don't want more than 8 people in a tournament because it's too long. I'm like, then take a page out of New Japan's book where you have 32 people in the tournament, but you have 4 separate blocks.
What do you mean? Stretch a storyline tournament out over a long extended period of time, which could give you up to 4 months of booking?
And you can still do dream matches, and you can revisit like history between wrestlers.
You can book injury angles where they get injured in another match. They have to wrestle on the card when it's not their night to do it, and therefore they lose their spot and someone has to take it over. You have all of these outs.
And on top of that too, you make everybody in the tournament like look really strong even in defeat, and even if they get knocked out of the tournament, you make them you remind people like, damn, you know what? They can go. They still got it. I think the biggest victories here for me for the G1 are the people who lost. It's not even those who were still in. Like, I think...
Except Sonata.
I mean, Jeff Cobb, once again, proves like he is so underutilized. Eddie Kingston... Eddie Kingston did fucking phenomenal in that tournament. And just to see him, like, accomplish so much, you know, and, like, I was just like, New Japan is using him better. Alex Coughlin, fucking Kenta had a banger of a match against, what was it? I think it was Will. Yeah, it was Will. I was just like, my God. I was just like, see, I was just like, why is Kenta not more on my television screen? Like, Kenta,
Because they're worried he's going to hurt himself.
I guess that's fine. But again, if you, there are ways to go about a tournament. You can make it interesting. My biggest issue is like, just don't make it predictable. Like, if you give me like somewhat, maybe 6 out of the 8 people in this tournament where I feel like, okay, honestly, it can go either way. But, you know, we haven't gotten there yet.
I'll sidebar this too, Mikey. If it's going to be predictable, then allow them to make it fun. And that was the problem with this, is that we kind of knew Shane Taylor was going to be Samoa Joe's opponent after what last happened there. You didn't let the build to that be fun, so the predictability of it got to us.
Yeah, I would have been like, just give us more time with this match. I would have been fine. Like, I would have been fine either way that Shane Taylor would still win. But this match should have been more fun. I feel like offense and defense should have been balanced out more, and let Gravity like actually do his thing. Like, I mean, it was what it was. Let's get into final thoughts. So we'll get into we'll get into rating. You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I would love to go first here. Yeah. So overall, as I said the whole time, it was kind of just a fluff filler episode, which has been the case, but whatever. With not as much build, and even like the last couple fluff ones had some ups and downs. This was kind of just middle of the road for the most part. So I'm gonna give this, I would give it 5 minis. I'm giving it 4.5 minis because Tony Khan still isn't learning his lesson. But that may go up for ROH soon if these little nuggets of things start to grow. I have to give it time, but if they're doing that, the ROH rating will go up. But overall, 4.5 minis. And my match of the night, honestly, Iron Savages versus Brady Pierce and Lucky Ali. It was a squash. I loved it. That was my match of the night. I'm sorry.
But it was a fun squash match. And, you know, me and you got to ogle Iron Savages. Listen, I have no shame. Listen, there's a reason why it is called the Bi-Conics. Come on now. Right. Let's see. So I am going to go up just a tiny bit higher at a scale of a 10. I get this a 5.5 out of 10 minis for me personally. I still agree with you that the women need to be booked better, but between this and the 3 AEW products, like this one I have the most faith and hope in, because like, you know, we get more women's matches. There's more different ways. And it might also help that you have like a good proponent for women's wrestler behind the scenes in Ring of Honor who's actually helping backstage get these women over. I don't know. I'm just saying, Tony, you should invest in somebody, or, you know, use who you have. You have Serena Deeb in the back. I'm just saying. But, you know,
that's fired. It makes complete sense, Mikey. I'm with you on that wholeheartedly. Honestly, folks, that you've been watching us for a couple weeks now, we'd love to hear what you think about all the divisions in here. Please leave a comment on this video or other videos and tell us what to tell Tony Khan next, or what you want to say to Tony Khan about how he's booking this type of stuff, because as we know, he's watching. He's pulling all of our stuff. So we are your conduit for this. But Mikey, this was an ROH episode. This was another Thursday. And I'm glad I got to share it with you. I'm glad that we got to share it with all of you. Hopefully you got something out of this. And, you know, as per usual, check us out on YouTube at BC WrestlePod. Look at all our videos, AEW reviews, WWE reviews. Mikey does Impact, this thing that I've just heard of, and NXT, which is also great.
I'm slowly getting them to watch those.
It's because you're bored by yourself. We understand. So that's all there. Check us out on the socials, on Insta, I think we're on X. I have no idea. But you can find us all those places. You can find me at the JV Lexicon. I'd love to hear from you if you're watching the stuff. Mikey, where can they find you somewhere?
You can follow me all over the social medias at The Pop Culture Geek. So that's where you can find me on the socials. And if you want to hear something different of what we do outside of the TV reviews, make sure to check us out on where you can find all podcasts, Apple, Spotify, whatever, for the Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about everything that is not TV review related. We talk about what we like about professional wrestling, who some of our male and female favorites are,
who we are as fans.
Who we are as fans. We also never take ourselves too seriously over there. Like, we're about to sit down and record a whole entire episode of which theme song for WWE pay-per-view slapped the hardest so far this year. We have a
It's gonna
good
be
time.
great. But yeah, do that. Subscribe to our channel, share it around, comment, and ring the bell for all of our notifications when the new one's out. We have new stuff pretty much every day of the week. We appreciate you. We love you. The code of honor has been accepted and has been used. And we will see you next time on the Bi-Conic's review of our honor.
Bye bye.